Ever wondered if there really is a secret ingredient that helps startups scale or fail? Welcome to Hear the Web by Tom and Lily.
Today, we're sharing insights from an article titled, Do Things That Don't Scale. A piece of advice often given at Y Combinator, a highly renowned startup accelerator. This isn't advice you'll find in every business textbook, but it's definitely worth considering.
Fascinating? The article suggests that many founders might believe that startups either take off or don't. They build a product, launch it, and then wait for a flood of users beating a path to their door or not.
And if they don't come, the common assumption is there isn't a market for their product. But it's important to remember that startups usually take off because their founders make active efforts to initiate their growth.
An effort like manually recruiting users, right? That's such an unscalable thing, but it's something most founders have to do at the start, correct?
You got it, Tom. Actually, one impressive example from the article was Stripe. It's a highly successful startup that invented a user acquisition technique known as Collison installation, named after the inventors, Collison brothers.
They made early user acquisition a priority and were known for immediately setting up users the moment they agreed to try Stripe. Seems like they didn't wait for things to just happen, they made them happen.
They certainly did, and that's a learning for every startup out there. Building something for the market isn't enough. You've got to actively find your users and, more importantly, find ways to make them happy.
Yes. And even if your user numbers seem small initially, don't underestimate the power of compound growth. Growing 10% a week from just 100 users, after 1 year, you would have 14,000 users, and after 2 years, you'd reach 2 million. A striking example of how starting small doesn't mean staying small.
Another example in the article is Airbnb. They physically went door to door in New York, recruiting new users and helping existing ones improve their listings. This unscalable method actually played a crucial role in their success.
That's an interesting perspective. It shows early on, most startups are fragile and every single user matters. It's this initial fragility that's often underestimated by many. Early founders need to be prepared for a labor-intensive start and put in work that scales themselves rather than relying only on their product.
True. But despite the initial hard work, it's important that founders don't dismiss their startup too soon. Even Bill Gates didn't initially realize the potential of Microsoft when he returned to Harvard. It's a reminder that no matter how small or insignificant your startup seems in the early days, the possibility for high growth is always there.
And to achieve that growth, it's crucial for founders to think of new ways to make their users happy. Wufoo, a form builder and survey tool, sent each of its users a handwritten thank you note. This kind of personal effort to delight users can be a game changer.
Absolutely. And the genius of this approach is that delighting customers can become a strong part of your culture that scales with your business. And as you grow, you'll find ways to take an approach that initially seemed unscalable and scale it.
To wrap up, the concept of doing things that don't scale is highly counterintuitive, but it's a common thread in the startup world. It means being hands-on, working hard, and taking utmost care of your users. Because, as the article puts it, it's not just the product that should be insanely great, but the experience of being your user.
Well said, Tom. The fundamental takeaway from the article is to always value quality user experiences, unstoppable growth, and remember, the best startups, almost without exception, take off because founders make it happen.